It was both better and a little bit more difficult than last time.
It was better and worser at the same time, if that's possible.
I think it was more entertaining.
Oh my god, that was.
Hello there, this is Michael Gira of Swans, and you are listening to the Capsule podcast on liveinlimbo.com.
This is Capsule on liveinlimbo.com. My name is Sean Chin.
And I am Andreas Babiolakis. This is an adventure into music, film, and pop culture.
Michael Gira is the leading force of the musical group Swans. He is actually the first guest to make a return appearance on this podcast. Thank you so much for being here. How's it going?
I'm absolutely delighted, floored, flummoxed, and overwhelmed to be a guest on your program.
Thank you so much.
Happy to have you back.
So that's the question. What have you been up to since the last time we talked in June at North by Northeast in Canada?
Oh my God. I've been on the road constantly, I think. I think I had a break in there somewhere, but pretty much I've been on the road.
Which states or provinces did that take you to?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Wow.
We just returned from, which was an adventure for me. We just returned from China, Japan, Taiwan, and Australia.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and actually, I saw that you had the Oxygen release in Japan, which is, I believe, is the only place on Earth that has it.
Yes. Well, I have to say, I guess I should act as a shill for my record company. There's a few for sale on the website, younggodrecords.com.
Absolutely. So everybody listening, go check those out. They're extremely rare. One copy per person, I believe, right?
That's correct.
Wow. So yeah, actually tell us a little bit about how the Asian market received you guys.
Well, I don't look at it as a market. They're human beings.
Yeah, a market. I mean, like their musical style, because they have different influences and likes over there. Did they respond well to it?
Absolutely. It was incredible. In fact, in Taipei, it was one of the single most extremely enthusiastic responses we've ever had. There's a part in the set where it's just quiet, and it's supposed to be quiet for quite some time, and there was no quiet. They were raising their arms up in the air and just that was
Which
quite an
we
experience. But
we both had the chance to see you live, actually, and it was tremendous at NXNE. Actually, how was that for you?
in where?
At NXNE, North by Northeast.
Oh, I don't remember, man. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's when you played with St. Vincent in Toronto.
Oh, that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was interesting. That was a bit like being on television or something.
Yeah, no, it was terrific, and it was absolutely one of the best shows of last year. So again, thank you for that experience. And we're actually covering your show coming up in Toronto in about a week.
Oh, great. What venue is that?
That's at the Phoenix Concert Theater on Friday, February 20, and we want everyone to buy tickets to that.
Oh, well, I guess I do too. So that's good.
Yeah, so what we did notice actually with your live performances is most of your material actually sounds very little like what you have on album. So you basically separate your album and your live work entirely, right?
Yes and no. What our mode is recently is we develop material in a sort of in a nascent state and start playing it live on a tour. And then as the tour progresses, it grows and metastasizes into these longer pieces just through performance and through finding things in the performance. And those gradually end up on a record along with other songs I write on acoustic guitar, which is what we're doing right now. The set now that we're doing is 4 long pieces that haven't been recorded, as well as 2 things that are pretty much what's the word, trashed from the original version from To Be Kind.
Oh, well, I can't wait to hear it. Now, is any of this actually improvised while you're on stage, or is it stuff that you've
Yes,
worked
quite
on?
often, but it's not in the sense of jazz improvisation. It's more like following the sound.
Absolutely.
Individual players might play things that are sort of different, but it's following within the context of the sound. I guess it's how if you imagine, say, Middle Eastern music or what they used to call Oriental music, how music notes shift within a tone, right?
Yeah.
It's just finding ways to find new paths within that tone, within that sound.
Absolutely. And we both, Sean and myself, considered your live show an actual experience as opposed to just kind of songs being performed. It was more experiencing just this huge wave of all of these sounds and connotations coming together. Is that kind of
Yeah.
your goal there?
Well, yeah, I guess it's I don't know if it's a goal so much as a fact. It's just sort of what happens. It's a bit alarming. There's a couple long sections in the set now that have no rhythm whatsoever, and they're just these clouds, these sort of broiling clouds. But I mean, they're played with great emotion, but and then they fall into a rhythm eventually. But I mainly as the kind of director of master of ceremonies in a way. I follow where things are going and kind of guide the band along that path.
Yeah, that's amazing. And speaking of the actual music that you make, so To Be Kind was named our top album of 2014 by Andreas here. And before we talk about that achievement in itself, the top 5 included the likes of Pharmakon, St. Vincent, Ariel Pink, and Caribou. So with that said, how did you feel about 2014 and those top 5 artists?
Well, I think it's great not to be behind Ariel Pink because I don't want to look at that dude's ass.
That's a fair statement, actually. Yeah.
I just saw them play in Australia. It was humorous.
It's humorous.
I was just absolutely delighted to see that the drummer is Don Bowles, whom I knew in Los Angeles in 1977 as the drummer of the Germs, and he also drummed in my first punk rock band, and I hadn't seen him since then, and so we caught up a little bit.
Wow, that's how touring goes. You see all these experiences, new and old, which come together.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Actually, I believe when you were younger, you did a lot of traveling, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure, I was a runaway kid, basically, which was not an uncommon thing in the '60s, late '60s, and hitchhiked around quite a bit.
Did that give you any insight with touring now, or is it vastly
No,
different?
touring now it's one step up from being a bank teller.
Yeah, absolutely.
The being on stage is a different matter, but the rest of it is really there's nothing romantic or every once in a while you get to see some of a city, but mostly you're just in transit and then at the sound check and then you're playing and then you're sleeping and then you're in transit again.
Mm-hmm. So you almost had more freedom when you were younger than you do now as a musician who's actually kind of made it.
Made it. I don't know about that. I'll ask my accountant about that. But
okay.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all relative in terms of what one views as freedom. I'm fortunate to be able to make work and music that challenges me and reifies me as a human being.
To Be Kind is critically acclaimed, and so tell us what musical success in quotes means to you personally.
Nothing in itself. It just means that we're able to continue following the path. As I learned many years ago, when things become too difficult, it's best to just walk around the stone and take another route. But for right now, things are propitious, so keep moving.
Very wise words. It seems like with all of these experiences you have, both musically and within your personal life, you have just all these wise things to say, I feel, and you are one of our favorite guys.
There's no wisdom. There's just experience, which unless you're an imbecile, you accrue experience that you can draw upon. But wisdom implies something much loftier than I can attest to.
Well, nonetheless, it's still advice that I think is absolutely worth hearing. And as I was saying, you are one of our favorite guests that we've had.
What are your thoughts on Beck winning Album of the Year at the Grammys? Because most people were expecting either a pop-centered or rap-centered or one of like the mainstream types of albums to win. But we have Beck, it is the least selling Album of the Year in a long time.
My first thought is that I very much want to have homosexual sex with him.
All right, that's cool. And then what was your second thought?
I don't care at all.
I'm with you on that, actually.
I just really don't care.
Well, that was a better answer than we bargained for anyways. Speaking of albums of the year, were there any that you found particularly interesting? Since we talked about it last year, but now that's been at least like 8 months since. Any albums last year that really did something for you?
Unfortunately, I am unable to listen to music very much because I'm touring constantly, and as you might have noticed, our music is sort of played at a generous volume level. So my main goal when I have time off is silence. So I haven't listened to much music over the last 5 years, probably.
When you say silence, do you mean more of like a meditative silence, or you just like read a book or something like that?
Yeah, read a book, meditate.
Any good books lately?
Well, the book that I'm reading right now is a tremendous philosophical study about mysticism in religion, and it's by Aldous Huxley, and it's called The Perennial Philosophy. And I recommend it highly to anybody who has an interest in such things. It talks about the core kind of aspiration, core spiritual aspiration in several of the world's religions, disregarding the dogma of religion, but looking more for the kind of consciousness that is sought by in its pure form in religion.
Interesting, and we could put that in the show notes for anybody who's interested in that. It does sound absolutely fascinating.
It's not an easy book. I'm kind of it's like I'm reading it, chiseling a cliff with a toothpick, trying to glean knowledge from it. It's very difficult writing, but it's rewarding.
Absolutely, and I personally think that rewarding is a lot better than easy and accessible, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm also reading a book called Lush Life by Richard Price, which is a crime procedural set in New York City.
Cool. And how is that going so far? Is that good?
That's wonderful. It's great entertainment. I'm a big fan of crime writing. Elmore Leonard and let me see, Elmore Leonard and I just forgot James Ellroy.
Perfect. Well, I need to check out all these things too because I'm really well behind on reading. So thank you for these recommendations. Actually,
you betcha.
Do you do any other things when you're on tour? Like, is there like do you do like a lot of like maybe writing or artwork or anything of that ilk?
While on tour, I'm comatose, except for when on stage. The main goal is sleep.
You reserve all the energy for stage work, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I don't know how I used to do it. Partaking in certain activities I did to such an extent, but I certainly can't now. The main thing I want to do now is sleep and be able to perform.
Yeah, that's totally understandable with the whole live experience from your shows. Who are 2 musical artists you'd recommend us to interview next?
Let me think here. I would say Carla Bosilic.
Okay.
Look up her work. And Bob Dylan.
Oh man, that would be
Good luck.
Do you have any contacts?
No.
That would be totally amazing.
Well, you did help with Anthony Fantano, as in our last podcast you said we should interview him, and we actually got a chance to. And I believe he wanted to get into contact with you. The guy from YouTube who loved To Be Kind.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
did he
that
ever get a chance?
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Did
How
he ever
was?
get a chance to contact him, or?
No. How was he?
It was interesting, actually, and apparently he's really hard to get a hold of as well. So thanks to you, we got a chance to talk to somebody who apparently it's so rare to interview him that he actually made an episode about us saying, "Oh, these two guys asked me to interview them," and this whole thing with Michael Gira happened, and yeah, so it went very successfully thanks to you, actually. So that's why at this point we feel that you're the go-to person for all these contacts.
But interestingly enough, you predicted or you thought that he was like a barista during his day job, but actually he not too long ago was he worked in a pizza shop, so you were kind of close in the food
You're very
industry.
Well, Quentin Tarantino was a guy at Kim's Video, right? So
Yeah.
you know what Kim's
Sometimes-
Video is? It's where he used to rent videotapes. He was
Oh,
a
okay.
cook.
No, I didn't forget
Back
that.
in the days of videotapes, it was on Avenue A in New York City.
What are videotapes?
Yeah, right.
That's where he got all of his film knowledge from, I believe.
Well, I don't know. He probably just watched them constantly, yes, which is what he should do. Okay, next question.
What's the future like for Swans? You say you have some stuff that's not released yet. Do you think that's going to end up on the next album, or is that completely strictly live?
No, it's whatever material we have is what we have, and that's what we use. So the material that we're playing live now in this present set will be on our next record, and I have so far 3 new things written on acoustic guitar, which will probably be orchestrated in the studio rather than with the band as a live thing.
We're looking
And then I'll just follow the path in the studio. And usually, I have pretty detailed plans, and then once I start recording and hearing what things actually sound like, I just tear them up. But I'm still compelled to make plans anyway.
And we're very eager to hear what you have to provide for us. And do you have any idea when the next album is going to be out, or is that not even in the near
Well, we're going to
future?
start recording in September, so I can't really predict, because once the beast kind of starts to eat my toes, it just takes a while till he finishes eating my entire body.
Fair enough. Well, I'm absolutely excited. I've seen you guys once live, and it was fantastic. I can't wait to see you at the Phoenix next week, where I'm actually going to be doing photography. So you might have to put up with me taking pictures. Is that okay?
No, I'm going to kick your ass, man.
That would be amazing if you did that and we made the headlines in the news. Michael Gira kicks Andreas Babiolakis' ass.
And they're going to be like, who is this Andreas guy? He's not important.
Just don't do it with your fucking cell phone. That's just, when I see people in the front row holding their cell phones up, it drives me insane.
I will keep that promise. I will not do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for joining us again on this podcast.
Hey, thanks a heap. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael, for joining us. Andreas, where can all of our listeners find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Andreas Babs.
And you can find myself on Twitter at Sean Chin. Please follow this show at Live in Limbo and use the hashtag Capsule Podcast to join in on the conversation. Please subscribe to us in iTunes, give us 5 stars, and leave some nice words to show your support. And as always, you can find the show notes at liveinlimbo.com/capsule. Take care.
Have a good one.